heat catastrophe, and it's for the same reason. Which is it?
Yeah, I get these guys confused at some point, but I know Hansen for sure, in the early to mid-'80s, was looking out his window and saying the West Side Highway was going to be underwater because of global warming.
Yes.
You look at the predictions these guys made.
Yes.
50% of all fish would be dead by the year 2000. And all these ridiculous things they were projecting, and they were wrong time after time after time. And yet we still go to these people like, they've learned their lesson. Last time when they were being alarmist, that was crazy. But this time, they're right on the money, even though they're predicting things that are much worse than 50% of the fish dying.
It's amazing. And I'm pretty sure I drove in on the West Side Highway today.
Really?
And I didn't do it in a boat. No, it was dry land. I drove overland in a car. West Side Highway in New York is not underwater.
Was it one of those duck tours boats where they can go from the land into the water, perhaps?
No.
I don't know.
No, I drove it all the way in from Connecticut through the West Side Highway and into Manhattan. So, no. And isn't that amazing? When you think about it, when you think about their track record and how discredited everything they've ever said is, that people still continue to buy in today.
This is another one. This is from Paul Ehrlich, who is, again, still active in the community and everything else. He is currently the president of the Center for Conservation Biology at Stanford. Quote, this is in 1969, he said this, quote, I would take even money that England will not exist in the year 2000.
Oh, my God.
That would have been a good bet to take.
Oh, my God.
In 1970, he said, quote, in 10 years, all important animal life in the sea will be extinct. I was wrong. I said 50%. He said all large areas of coastline will have to be evacuated because of the stench of dead fish. That's a quote. This is not just some stuff that we're making up.
No wonder we evacuated the eastern seaboard.
Yeah, I know.
Remember that?
And now the reason why the damages for hurricanes are so much higher is because we've gone to the seaboard. It's the exact opposite. We're moving towards the water because we are such a wealthy nation, at least in theory, if you don't count our debt, that we like that stuff so much we've moved closer to it instead of moving away.
And they just keep piling it on, too. They just keep piling. Gore keeps doing the same thing. EPA head Lisa Jackson. We played the commercial yesterday about what they're starting into. There was a lot more on what she has said lately, and here's part of it on racism and the environment from EPA head Lisa Jackson.
When we think about environmental protection, there was a time when my father, living in the South, would have been forced to drink unsafe water out of different pipes and different fountains because of his race.
I didn't know that.
And we also need to make...
Is that... Because honestly, I've heard the separate water fountain thing, obviously, a million times. I thought that was more of just a thing where you're separating the person, and it's demeaning because you're making them drink it. But she's saying that it was an environmental issue, like they were
that's new information. They were specifically pumping bad water into
those water fountains that were right next to the other ones.
Yeah,
I didn't realize.
I'm glad you picked up on that.
It may be true. I honestly don't know. But
I don't know either. I didn't know about it.
That environmentalism goes hand in hand with traditional civil rights and social justice issues.
Okay, so we're just supposed to accept that premise now. That traditional civil rights goes hand in hand with environmentalism? How are you making that stretch, that leap? Okay.
Now's the time for us to broaden the conversation about the environment.
All right.
To expand the tent of our coalition so that people don't stand at this podium and think of the environment as something that stops them from building houses, but says, why do we build houses and where should we build them, and how do we ensure that the houses we build with our taxpayer money are safe and clean and healthy and affordable? How do we make sure that people who are housing advocates also call themselves environmentalists?
I don't know.
But one way to do that is to follow the lead of BIG and make EPA itself a more diverse and inclusive workplace.
That's all you can do.
More diverse and inclusive workplace, and then we can walk hand in hand through the environment together
by building houses
that
are not racist houses,
that are not racist,
white,
and they're
not white houses.
They're environmentally justified.
Colorful, multicultural houses,
but only green.
But
they're green, but lots of different colors of people live inside them.
Right, but they don't consume anything.
No,
because that would
hurts
not Mother Earth. Could be Father or Mother. We don't know.
Gender neutral Earth.
And certainly we don't know the race of Mother Earth.
Of course not.
She's
multi-diversified,
cultural
and stuff. Cultural diversity in the earthness.
Right, and that's, I think, the point she was trying to make. It is clear as day.
It's just that easy. It's just that easy. And the good thing is they're going to take this to our kids.
Can you talk a little bit about why you chose this bottom-up approach, sort of educating the kids to educate their parents?
Well,
I love this interview.
It's worked before. I mean, we'll take any approach when it comes to environmental education that works, but we know that one thing about the environmental movement, young people understand it, young people get it, but one of the things that we know is that young kids can go home and their parents will listen to them, because I have yet to meet the parent, whether it's in the corporate boardroom or an environmental advocate, who you can't reach by talking to them about their children.
Listen to that insidiousness. So we know we can get the kids because they know. They don't know. You're telling them.
Yeah, you're
indoctrinating them.
Yeah, you're telling them a simplified story about a sun with a smiley face on it. That's what they understand.
You have a totally innocent vessel there, and you're filling it full of garbage. And then you're telling that vessel to go and spread this garbage to your parents now.
Right, and this is the thing.
Wow, is that evil? That's evil.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a terrible a way to go about things, because you're not engaging in a intellectual argument. You're engaging in a simplified bunch of nonsense to win over children. And how do you win over? When you win over children, look at the advertisements that go after children. They're bouncy faces with smile, and then look at the Story of Stuff. I mean, it's the same thing. It's stick figures. It's cartoons. It's going after someone who, you go to a kid. Any kid is going to be for the environment, because they see the environment of how we should see the environment, which is litter and dirty water and things that no one would accept in our society.
We're all on that page.
We're all on that page. There's, I take my train that goes home every time. Right near the one of the stations is this just mound of trash on the side. It just looks terrible, and that's what people engage themselves to. It's to that level. They don't want crap around them. They want things to look nice. They want to be able to be healthy. And
we want clean air, water.
Yeah, and
we don't want litter.
Now, obviously, carbon monoxide is not visible, and we don't want it, because there's a lot of terrible things out there. But they're not engaging in a scientific argument on the validity of climate sensitivity. That's not what's happening here. You're drawing smiley faces on the Earth, and you're making the Earth talk, and the Earth seems happier when what we're doing to it, that with the evil smokestacks, isn't happening.
They're so impressionable, and you're just filling them full of one side of an argument.
Right.
And then you claim that
they know, they get it. It's not even. If it was one side of an argument, you could at least make the case. Like, if you show an inconvenient truth, you could at least say, it's one side of the argument, it's the side I think, and that's what I want my kid, as a parent. I want my kid to believe that way. I'm going to show them that information. To me, I'd rather have them have both sides and make their own choice up eventually. But whatever. But when you're talking about, when you're just giving them a cartoon, and you're just throwing it up there, and the Earth is happy when people are just eating vegetables, and the Earth is sad when people have cars, that's not either side of any argument. That's just indoctrination. That's just telling them what to believe, because that's the side I want you to have, and I don't want you to have the other facts.
And that just hacks me off. Oh, I just can't take that.
It is quite frustrating. I do wish, though, that the Earth itself would be a tad less racist. As you can see, there's so much racism that's just overwhelming our society, and it comes directly from Mother Earth, who I've seen in a hood. I have seen her in a hood. If you know what night is, it's not the sun on the other side of Earth. It's when Mother Earth puts a hood on.
Oh, wow.
People don't realize that. There are always, whenever there's night, there's always two little pieces of day in the middle of that night. And the reason is those are the eye holes of the hood that Mother Earth wears.
That's kind of
And she only gets it over half of her head, obviously, so the other half is going to obviously be
still bright.
It's still bright. And this is the thing that the kids, never get taught in schools. And
then they need to.
That's the equivalent of what they do.
I know, it's stupid. It's stupid.
If Mother Earth is a racist, you're going to hate Mother Earth.
This racism, equating it to the environment, wow, this is insidious, hideous stuff. And there's so much racism to go around. We'll tell you about some more that we've stumbled onto coming up here in a second.
This is the fourth hour.